Hi and hello from Spectrum Sci-Fi. You're listening to the Spectrum Sci-Fi Show here on WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. That is WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with a global soul. Okay, my name is Keith Baudry. I'm here live in studio with you, the listener. If you are listening, thank you. If not, you can find this later on a podcast. If you're here now on a podcast, thank you. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the show. Yeah, so a little bit in news this week. Nothing particularly breaking other than the NASA story. NASA announced that, I think on Wednesday, that they have discovered a solar system 40 light years away with 7 planets, 7 Earth-sized planets rotating around a small dwarf star. Each planet is similar in size to Earth, and 3 of those planets are in the green zone, the habitable zone, meaning they very well could have water on those planets, and by all means, if that is the case, there is probably life on those planets right now, living, doing its alien thing. And that is the coolest freaking thing to think about. That said, I may bring that up later on. That is in the TRAPPIST-1 system. It's 40 light years away. That would take 4 million years using our current technology. But as soon as we develop some FTL, some faster than light travel, then put me on that plane. I guess I'll go see the aliens. I guess, if you need someone to do that. Anyway, I'm going to jump right in here. I'm not feeling too well today, so I'm going to jump right into my this Dimension X episode. Last week was With Folded Hands. We heard some androids take over the world, pretty much, under the guise of helping humans, taking human jobs. And then they started upgrading humans, which I think would be a fantastic life. Take away the emotion. Take away the hard work. Anyway, here we go. So, up first, up the rest of the show. I don't know what I'm saying. Report on Barnhouse Effect is the name of the episode. So let's dive right into this. Dimension X, 1950s radio play. Here we go.
Adventures in time and space, told in future tense. Dimension X, 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 X. The mind of man is still an unprobed field. Within it lie many mysteries still unsolved. But there are men today, psychologists now experimenting with telepathy, hypnosis, thought transference, who believe that in the future we may discover the existence of a force of the mind more powerful than any force the world has ever known. We go ahead now in time some 10 years, and in space to the campus of a small eastern college. The hour is late, and in one of the dark college buildings, 2 men stand in front of a door that bears the name Professor Arthur Barnhouse, Psychology.
Well, here you are, Clinton.
Thank you, Major.
Here are the keys to the professor's desk and files. I guess you inherit everything now. You might as well dictate a full report while everything's still fresh in your mind. I'll wait and see you home.
Oh, no, that isn't necessary. I'll be all right.
You sure? After what's happened tonight, we wouldn't want you to have an accident, too.
Major, after what happened tonight, I have a hunch the whole world is ripe for an accident.
I'm afraid you're right, Clinton. Well, good night.
Good night. Pull yourself together, Buster. Easy does it. August 21st, 1960. Restricted report from George Clinton to the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, the FBI, National Security Board, etc., etc., etc. Subject, the so-called Barnhouse Effect, and Professor Arthur Barnhouse, who discovered it. I first met the professor 2 years ago in the fall of 1958. He was a professor of psychology here at Wilton College, and I was here on an instructor's fellowship in the psych department. They assigned me to be Barnhouse's assistant, and he needed one. He hardly ever remembered to go to a class, and he didn't seem to do anything else either. For 3 months, I watched him sitting at the desk here in his study. He'd either stare at nothing for hours or fall asleep, nodding over his mess of papers. I couldn't understand it, and it was none of my business. But one day, I thought I'd better give him a shake.
What? What?
I said it's 2:15, Professor. Don't you want to go to your 2 o'clock class?
Don't you want to mind your own business?
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, Clinton. Forgive me. I don't know what gets into me. Forget the class. The kids would rather be outdoors anyway.
Okay, Professor. In that case, I'm sorry I woke you up.
It's all right. I just can't seem to get my sleeping done at night. Clinton, what do you know about the international situation?
Well, I'm no political scientist, if that's what you mean. I read the papers when I have time.
Well, that's the way I've always been. Lately, I've had to look into it. I stay up nights looking into it.
Professor, I don't want you to take this personally or anything, but... Well, sir, I wonder if you'd mind if I asked to be transferred.
You mean you'd rather work with somebody else in the department?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir, it's not that. I think maybe there's a chance for a psychologist to work on that government project.
Government project? Oh, yes, that army thing.
Yes, sir. They're trying to develop robot pilots for their new fighter rockets so they'll be expendable.
Oh, yes, yes. Something else designed to replace men.
Yes, sir. And you know, it's a funny thing. The robots work just like human brains. They get overworked or overloaded or something, and they have nervous breakdowns. Now, if I could only find out what drives those electronic brains crazy, why, I'd feel
Clinton,
that I was...
if you want to study a brain that's going crazy, never mind the robots. You can go to work on me.
What are you talking about, sir?
I don't know. I'm either crazy as a bedbug or a... Clinton, I wish you'd help me find out.
Are you serious, Professor?
I never was more serious in my life. I'm afraid I'm going out of my mind.
But why? What makes you think so?
This is what makes me think I'm crazy.
Those dice?
Clinton, do you know what the odds are against my rolling a 7?
Oh, about 5 or 6 to 1.
Watch. 7. Now, what are the odds against my rolling it again?
Twice in a row? Plenty. About 100 to 1, I'd say.
Watch.
Professor, you're hotter than a $2 pistol.
It's funny. That's what they said 8 years ago when I first discovered this.
Discovered what?
This force of the mind. I call it dynamo-psychism.
You mean you shove those dice around just by thinking about it?
People have always thought there could be a force of the mind. You know that. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've learned to control it.
Yeah? How did you happen to find out about this, Professor?
Well, it was about 10 years ago, back in 1948. I made the mistake of going to a psychologist's convention, and in order not to appear unsocial, I happened to find myself, for the first and only time in my life, in a dice game.
What happened?
I didn't have the faintest idea what was expected of me, and someone told me to roll 7s. So I did. 10 of them.
I'll bet you weren't asked back into that game.
That night, in my room, I realized that it simply couldn't have been an accident, Clinton. I tried to reconstruct the exact scene, the position of my body, and finally, the thoughts in my mind. And that was what did it. I remembered what had been my train of thought, and I proceeded to roll 7s, not 10 consecutive times, but 50.
Brother, there it is again. Professor, can you do anything else? I mean, besides shove dice around?
You see that inkwell on my desk?
Sure.
Watch it. Don't take your eyes off it. If nothing happens, say so. and I shall go quietly, even happily, to the nearest sanitarium.
Okay, Professor, shoot. Hey, why, it just blew up.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to splash ink on your suit.
That's okay, Professor. What was that funny noise?
Oh, that? The dynamo psychic waves are a little like ultra-high frequency waves. Sometimes, when I turn on the power, they create a kind of static.
Listen, Professor, how much power have you got? Could you blow up anything, well, big?
I could flatten the Great Wall of China.
Boy, you'll make the helio-oxygen bomb look sick.
That's what scares me, Clinton. The thought that maybe I could use this power to save the world. Clinton, you've got to help me.
Who, me? Professor, when it comes to international relations, I don't know from where. You'd better get in touch with the State Department.
State Department? Yes, they'd be the ones, wouldn't they? Well, you probably want to be getting home now. I'll see you to the door. I could use a breath of fresh air.
Okay, Professor. You better stop brooding about this. You get somebody else to do your worrying for you.
Yes, you're right. I have been brooding, wondering what to do. Just sitting and staring endlessly at that awful monstrosity across the way.
You mean the old bell tower?
Yes, I've gotten so I can't stand the sight of it anymore.
Professor! Professor, look, what? Well, there's nothing left but a pile of rubble.
Oh, my, I didn't really mean to do that. Well, you see, Clinton, it's got to the point where my lightest whim is more dangerous than a blockbuster.
Professor, you get in and write that letter to the State Department right now. You packed too much of a wallop. Professor Barnhouse mailed his letter, and things happened fast. A long arm of the Army reached out, and within 5 days, the two of us were deposited in an old mansion in Virginia, surrounded with a barbed wire fence and 20 guards, and labeled top secret. As soon as they'd seen a couple of small demonstrations, they set up a big test of dynamo psychism, and the professor was a very important guy. You could see him getting more unhappy every day.
General Barker, I've got to talk to you.
Just a minute, Professor. We're cleaning up the last details in Operation Brainwave. We'll roll at 1400 hours tomorrow.
At 1400 what?
2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The robot-controlled fighter rockets will take off at exactly 1400 minus 10 and appear over the target at 1400. Watching from here over the video screen, you will then try to knock all 20 of them out of the sky. Think you can do it?
Of course I can do it.
Fine. And we've taken care of everything.
Everything except that you neglected to ask me if I wanted to do it. I don't. This whole thing strikes me as childish and insanely expensive.
We'll decide about that.
But what's the good of it? I wouldn't mind acting as a defense weapon if it were necessary. But I can make all wars and armaments unnecessary. I could give every nation what it needs. I could move mountains, build roads, dig irrigation canals. I have a technique which costs nothing and can do immense good. You're spending millions to prove that it can do immense damage. It doesn't make sense.
You know something, General? He's right.
Of course I'm right. I want you to send me and Clinton back to Wilton College. Right away.
That's quite impossible, Professor. This operation has gone too far to be called off now.
Yes, but...
Even if we wanted to call it off. If your dynamo psychism really works, you're apt to be the key to our entire defense setup.
But listen...
You'll have to excuse me now. Major Cuthrell and I have to double-check the confidential list of the observers on this end. Have you got it, Major?
Yes, General. It's right here. Alberts, Barker, Bernstein, Carter, Clinton, Cuthrell, Holbrook, Lawrence, Stein, Williams.
Check. I guess that includes everybody of importance.
What about me?
What? Oh, that's taken for granted, Professor.
Thanks.
1400 hours. Will you be ready?
I'll be ready. And now, if someone will wind the restricted clock and put the confidential cat out, I'm going to bed.
YDR to brainwave control. Observation plane to brainwave control. Come in, please.
That's McKinley in the observation plane. Cut me in. Hello, McKinley. Reading it clear on the speaker. Everything all right?
All okay, General. Takeoff uneventful. Fighter rockets now flying on course in perfect formation. Altitude 5,000 feet. Airspeed 865. Visibility unlimited. Are you tracking us?
We've got you on radar. Haven't picked you up on the video screen yet. What's your estimated time of arrival over at the target?
ETA, 2 minutes.
Check. Remember, McKinley, the observation plane is not to enter the target range. Veer off and circle at the 10-mile limit. Bring the rockets overhead by remote control.
Check. Observation signing off.
1 minute, 45 seconds to go, Professor Barnhouse. Are you in good shape?
I'm all right, General.
Good. We can all take our places in front of the video screen now. You sit here, Professor, in the center. Major Cuthrell, will you turn on the video screen?
Right, General. Nothing yet, just empty sky. Hold it. I hear him coming in.
There are 20 of them, Professor. You think you can knock them down at this altitude?
Distance has nothing to do with it.
I don't want anything to go wrong. You're sure you feel all right?
General, I know I can do it. If that's all that's worrying you, let's call the whole thing off and save $20 million.
There they are. They're coming in.
Get ready, Professor. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, wide open, Professor. Well, go ahead, Barnhouse. Knock them down.
I did.
Nonsense. All you've done is blank out the video screen. What went wrong? Did you give it everything you had?
I was wide open, General.
Then it didn't work. They're still flying. What's that?
It just took a few seconds to work. That's
Holy smoke, they're dropping like flies.
McKinley to brainwave control. What's happened to these rockets? They're going down like flame.
By heaven, it works. It really works. Cuthrell, get Washington on the line. Barnhouse, I want you to... Hey, where's Barnhouse?
He was right here.
Clinton, where's the professor?
Got me, General. We were all staring at the video. He must have walked out.
Get moving, everybody. Let the guard search the house.
Yes, sir.
If anything happens to that man...
General Parker. General Parker.
What is it, Corporal?
Corporal Gray guard at the main gate. Sir, Professor Barnhouse is gone.
Gone, where?
He came tearing out of the gate at 40 miles an hour. Here's a note, sir. Threw it out of the car as he went by. I picked it up.
Let me see it, quick. What got into that man?
What does he say, General?
Gentlemen, as the first superweapon with a conscience, I'm removing myself from your national defense stockpile. Setting a new precedent in the behavior of ordnance, I have humane reasons for going off. Signed, Arthur Barnhouse.
Barnhouse was gone.
Okay, so, interrupting that, it sounds like Professor Barnhouse, it's in a near future, Professor Barnhouse has developed the ability to control the world around him, influence the world around him with just his thoughts. Very interesting. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's something that could... It already happens in a way, you know. Whenever you think something, how you think about it affects how you approach it. The way you approach it then affects how people react to your approach. So your thoughts turn to actions, which prompt reactions, which affect your thoughts, and so on. It's quite a sick cycle that starts there. If you let yourself get caught up in some messed up version of the world, then very soon the world will become that you see in your head. Now, I'm not sure that made any sense, if that's something you can follow, but I think it's really relevant, if to no one else than to me right now. But in other news, I'm just going to read through a couple of these articles I have saved here. Looks like adding self-driving tech to your car is surprisingly cheap and legal, it seems. While Tesla rolls out updates to autopilot incrementally, and other automakers fine-tune their autonomous platforms after years of development, some ambitious drivers are tricking out their own regular cars with self-driving systems. They're doing it with aftermarket gear that's available to anyone to buy and install, just like any other auto tune-up. Unlike a new set of tires or a lift kit, however, the DIY self-driving kits have the ability to change the fundamental driving experience. And they're surprisingly legal. Very interesting. Moving on. VR social productivity app, Big Screen is the name of it, raises $3 million in a round of funding led by Andreessen Horowitz. While there is much ink spilled over the hunt for VR's killer app, over the past year, a number of social apps have emerged out of the VR community that seek to highlight the unparalleled opportunities for collaboration offered by VR. One of the first to balance the potential for fun and productivity is Big Screen. The company, which has achieved sizable popularity amongst early VR users, has built a product around experiencing web content with others in a shared environment. The startup announced today announced today that it has raised $3 million in funding led by Andreessen Horowitz. Other investors in this round include True Ventures, Presence Capital, Ludlow Ventures, David Bednar, and SV Angel. So basically what this means is that $3 million is no small sum. What this means is that very soon, VR is going to be invading our everyday life. You already see things like the Microsoft HoloLens gaining traction with the relevance of its Portal port. If you've seen that, there's a virtual cube on the screen, on your face screen, that, well, first of all, the HoloLens is pretty much a computer that you wear on your head. You wear it on your head. It's not VR, it's an actual computer that you wear on your face. The screen drops down in front of your eyeballs. And then you can overlay things on the screen over what you're actually looking at. Similar to, I don't know if you've seen recently the invisible TV screen that looks like a piece of glass. And then you just tap on it and it comes to life and fills with color and HD greatness. That it's something like that, the HoloLens. So the Portal game that was ported to the HoloLens is extremely relevant because the physics of it reads the environment that you're looking at, and it can it moves there's a block that you drop around and throw through portals. You can launch portals, put a portal on the wall next to you, and put another portal on the wall behind you, and throw a little virtual block through the portal there, and it comes through the portal in front of you, and watch it come out behind you. You can drop the cube downstairs. You can put a portal on the floor and a portal on the ceiling and create an infinite fall motion. It's mind-blowing where computers are headed and what is possible these days. That said, it sounds like Big Screen VR is well on its way into our hands. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but it looks like Nightwing, the famous Batman sidekick, Bat Family character, is slotted for his own movie, his own spin-off film. I think that is a hell of a good idea. I would love to see Nightwing on the big screen. It'd be so nice to get into Gotham, into possibly Bloodhaven, where Nightwing kind of his territory, if you will, and see that happen. The same Gotham type, dark, crime-ridden town, city, but with a different character other than Batman. That same kind of brooding. Well, Nightwing doesn't brood so much. He's very... Dick Grayson is a former acrobat, so he's a little bit more upbeat than Batman. But then again, I think any hero ever is more upbeat than Batman. But so I found I've got a list of 15 sci-fi movies here that have won Oscars that you didn't know won Oscars. This is an article from ScreenRant.com. Matt Brunson wrote it. We're going to cut back into Dimension X here, and I'm going to come back with this article here soon. But first, let's find out what happens after Mr. Bloodhaven walks away. Not Mr. Bloodhaven. Mr. Barnhouse. Professor Barnhouse walks away from the military that is testing his ability to control the world around him.
Within 12 hours, the world was on a spree. The headlines were glorious or terrible, depending on what you think of the things the way they are.
Barnhouse flattens helio bomb factory!
The dynamo's psychic waves reached every corner of the world. In every country, every continent flashed the news of what was happening.
Hey, Barnhouse knocks out hidden atomic stockpile in Asia!
There was a new kind of war, the war of tattletales. Secret agents of every country hunted for the hidden armaments of their enemies, yelled about them in the newspapers, and immediately there'd be that warning burst of Barnhouse static, followed by...
Radio-controlled fleet blown up on secret maneuver!
The professor was out to make peace or bust, and nothing like him ever was. Look, Major Cuthrell, I told the FBI and the Army everything I know weeks ago. I've answered questions till I'm blue in the face.
I didn't come here to ask questions, Clinton. I came to ask for your help.
My help?
That's right. To find Barnhouse.
What if I don't want to?
If you're his friend, I think you'd better.
Why pick on me? You've got the FBI, the police, and Army intelligence. Why can't you find him yourselves?
We're trying. But you know the man well. You could spot him where we wouldn't. And you're the only one who can.
Maybe. But why should I? Wherever he is, I think he's doing fine. He's making war impossible, and I like it.
So do I.
Yes? He's putting you out of a job.
That's all right with me. I'll retire to a truck farm with pleasure.
Well, then?
Look, Clinton, we aren't the only ones in this race. Every country in the world has its best agents out hunting for Barnhouse. Nobody can beat that kind of a manhunt.
He seems to be doing all right so far.
Sure, but how long do you think he can keep it up? A week? A month? Sooner or later, he'll be spotted. And if the wrong people find him, Clinton, we're done for. You know what kind of weapon this is. Whoever controls the Barnhouse Effect can control the world.
Well, all right. Suppose they do find him. He'd never give the secret away.
Never give it away? Are you out of your mind? Do you think these fellas are playing for marbles?
Well, no, but...
Read the papers, Clinton. Don't you know what's going on in the rest of the world?
Yes,
They'll get the secret out of Barnhouse, all right. And what happens to him in the process won't be very pretty.
Well, he must realize that, then. He'll never let himself be taken alive.
He may not have the choice. And if he doesn't, God help us all.
All right. All right, I'm in.
Good. Now, do you know anything that you haven't told us? Anything that might give us a lead?
Only this. It was addressed to me. I found it here on his desk the morning after he escaped.
You mean he came back here?
Yes. I guess he needed to pick up some personal effects. Anyway, the files were open, and he left this note on a scrap of paper.
Anything to do with the Barnhouse Effect?
Read it yourself. It's Greek to me. Just these few lines scrawled on a piece of paper, and the last one breaks off right in the middle of a sentence.
This stuff doesn't make any sense at all. You know, from the looks of this, I'm beginning to wonder if the professor isn't going off his rocker.
I thought of that, too.
All the more reason why we've got to get to him quick. He may be helpless, and the whole world's on his track. Come on, Clinton. We haven't much time.
You say you do recognize this photograph, Mrs. Reardon?
I tell you, it looks like Mr. Balfour's. He had the second floor front room for quite a while, but he left, I should say, about a week ago. Say, is he wanted for something?
Yes, if he's the man I think he is.
Well, now, I'd say you're looking for the wrong fella. That Mr. Balfour, he couldn't be a criminal. Why, he wouldn't even harm a fly. He spent all his time in his room, just thinking.
Oh, brother, it's hot. What a way to spend an August afternoon, huh, Major? Give my eye teeth to be at Jones Beach.
So would I, Corporal. We've got work to do here.
Look, sir, we've been cruising around these radio detection cars for a week. Not a sign of Barnhouse static. The professor must have run out of things to work on.
Well, we'll give him a little more time. Switch to shortwave. See if there's anything special coming through.
Yes.
Try the 9-meter band.
This is Radio Miranda calling.
Let's hear that.
Our American enemies who have hidden behind the unjust and diabolical persecution by Professor Arthur Barnhouse will tyrannize us no more.
I wonder if the professor's out of
Today,
this.
our glorious leader takes up his residence in a shelter, shielded with lead against all dynamo-psychic rays. With his protection designed by our brilliant scientists to be absolutely impregnable against the Barnhouse Effect, he will once again lead us on the path of our glorious death.
Quick, triangulate it and get me a fix.
I've got it. Let me check this chart.
Quick, man.
3.9, 1.7. Oh, my aching back.
What is it?
We haven't got a prayer of finding a major. He'd have to be picked out of 2 million people.
Where is Barnhouse?
Right where I was wishing I was. Right smack in the middle of Jones Beach.
Sorry, gents, we're full. No more rooms tonight.
We don't want a room. Do you recognize this picture?
Who wants to know?
Uncle wants to know.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me see it. Yeah, it looks a lot like room 417.
About 5 feet 8, thin, sandy hair, glasses, little scar right across the bridge of his nose.
Yeah, that's 417, all right.
You mean he's here now?
No, not anymore. He checked out 2 days ago. But he couldn't have gone far.
What makes you say that?
Oh, he looked sick as a dog. Couldn't hardly carry his own bag out.
Uh-oh.
Like I said to the other fellas, I said he looked like he was on his way to the morgue.
What other fellas?
Oh, the ones this morning. You're the second pair that's been asking for him.
All right. Sounds like the military is not the only group of people coming after Professor Barnhouse. He doesn't sound well. He's on the run. He's in hiding. We've got about 7-8 minutes left of the radio play, and I don't know how it could pan out. In the meantime, we're going to dive right into this 15 sci-fi movies you didn't know won Oscars. Number 15, to start the list off, we got Star Trek. Star Trek 2009 Star Trek film. Wait. It did not win an Oscar. Give me a second. Okay, after J.J. Abrams' reboot of the venerable Gene Roddenberry franchise already snagged that award 7 years ago. Interesting. Star Trek. Number 14, The Fly. Well, I don't feel like I was very clear there. Let me go back. So Star Trek, J.J. Abrams' reboot of the original Star Trek movie won an award for Best Picture. In 2009. I am butchering this little section here. Like I said, I'm not feeling well today. I really hope you bear with me while we make it through this list. Number 14, The Fly. Not the original version of the movie The Fly, but David Cronenberg's 1986 version of The Fly. Won an Oscar for Best Makeup. Number 13, The War of the Worlds. Yep, the old movie, 1953. Best Special Effects, it won. Number 12, The Time Machine. George Pal and H.G. Wells together again. Several years after the success of The War of the Worlds, Pal opted to bring another Wells property to the screen. In this case, it was the 1960s Time Machine, starring Rod Taylor as H. George Wells, a Victorian-era inventor who creates a contraption that allows him to journey back and forth through the years. That would be so freaking useful. Oh my God. Time travel? Are you serious? Amazing. Number 11, Alien, the classic sci-fi horror movie. It wasn't until this current decade that the Academy finally allowed 5 nominees to annually contend in the Best Visual Effects category that was established in 1963. Previously, there were either 2 nominees, 3 nominees, or the Oscar was handed out as a Special Achievement Award. Only twice were there exceptions to this tried and true rule. One was 1973, when the Academy decided that not a single film deserved consideration for its effects. The other was 1979, which until the run that began in 2010, was the only year to offer a full 5 nominees. It's easy to understand the Academy's enthusiasm given the excellence on view in all 5 features. From the freewheeling hijinks seen in Steven Spielberg's 1941 to the outer space adventures showcased in the film franchise jump-starter Star Trek The Motion Picture, the James Bond saga Moonraker, and the Disney effort The Black Hole, the effects showcased in 1979 were truly special. The deserving winner, though, was Ridley Scott's Alien, with the 5 key artists, H.R. Geiger and Carlo Rambaldi, involved, all picking up statues for creating a classic movie monster. Beyond classic. Epic. Awesome. Again, this article is by Matt Brunson on the Screen Rant website, screenrant.com. Number 10, Total Recall. Starring current California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. For decades, the Academy has been adamant in not allowing the general public to see the runner-ups, that is to say, the films and performers that either just missed winning an Oscar or even just missed landing a nomination in the first place. The 1990 race, however, witnessed a rare exception to this taboo tallying. In that year, the members of the visual effects branch employed a numerical rating system to determine which films should earn a nomination in that category. The first round produced 4 possibilities, of which up to 3 would be chosen to be nominated. But after counting the second round of ballots, it was discovered that only one title had earned enough points to actually be recognized. The picture was Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall, the futuristic actioner based on a Philip K. Dick story and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Amazing film. Number 9, Logan's Run. Only once in Oscar history have 2 films been honored in the same year for their visual effects. That occurred during the 1976 race when King Kong and Logan's Run each won a Special Achievement Award. Amazing. Number 8, 2001 A Space Odyssey. Beyond a classic, a staple of the science fiction film and the science fiction genre. Stanley Kubrick's entire career was dogged by controversy, so it's no surprise that his only Academy Award win was similarly a point of contention. Kubrick earned a total of 12 Oscar nominations for his achievements in writing, directing, and producing. 2 of those nods came for writing with Arthur C. Clarke and directing 2001 A Space Odyssey, Arthur C. Clarke being one of the greatest science fiction writers to live. The 1968 masterpiece that's hailed 2001 A Space Odyssey is the 1968 masterpiece that's hailed by many as the best science fiction film ever made. Yes, Kubrick's sole Oscar victory was in the Best Visual Effects category, and he was the only member of the 2001 team to receive an actual statue. Well deserved. Number 7, Planets of the Apes. A great film. If you have not seen the original Planet of the Apes, please go and watch that. Please. Planet of the Apes. The 1968 box office hit Planet of the Apes was released in the same year as 2001 A Space Odyssey. And while the Kubrick flick landed 4 nominations, the Simian saga managed 2 Best Original Score for Jerry Goldsmith Outstanding Soundtrack and Best Costume Design. It won neither, although it did net John Chambers an honorary award. Amazing. So it did not win an Oscar. It won an honorary award Oscar. Number 6, The Abyss. It wasn't until 1997's Titanic that James Cameron became the king of the world, in quotations, after his global smash nabbed a whopping 11 Academy Awards. But some of his earlier movies had enjoyed a measure of Oscar success. 1986's Aliens earned 2 statues, while 1991's Terminator 2 Judgment Day grabbed 4. Post-Titanic, Avatar snatched another 3. The 1989 underwater epic The Abyss is generally the forgotten film in Cameron's Oscar portfolio, perhaps because it nabbed only a single win from 4 nominations, or more likely because it was the rare Cameron movie that underperformed at the box office. Interesting. I've never seen that one, The Abyss. I'm a fan of James Cameron. The guy's a genius, barring the sappy romanticism and stupid ending of the Titanic. But I'm looking forward to a new Avatar movie. I'm looking forward to a new Terminator movie, possibly, from Cameron. And moving on. Number 5, Men in Black. As noted above, the 1997 Oscars found Titanic absolutely capsizing the competition, winning a record-tying 11 awards out of record-tying 14 nominations. 2 of its 3 losses came in the acting categories, while the third came courtesy of the Best Makeup Department. Even while adopting an unfortunate sweet mentality, Academy members realized that it would simply look absurd if they honored Leonardo DiCaprio's frozen blue face over the extraordinary array of otherworldly creatures found in Barry Sonnenfeld's delightful summer hit, Men in Black. That is a great film series, Men in Black. Men in Black 1, 2, and 3 are spectacular films. Definitely a must-see. Number 4. I got the remake, all 3 of these movies, for Christmas last year from my beautiful girlfriend, Bobby Jo Goodman. The Blu-ray remaster of these films. Number 4, Back to the Future. Fantastic. Oh, so good. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and produced by Steven Spielberg, 1985's Back to the Future wasn't just a commercial smash, but a critical one as well. This perennial favorite, in which high school student Marty McFly and the loopy Doc Brown head back to 1955 in a souped-up DeLorean time machine, earned reams of rave reviews and was the top-grossing movie of its year. What's more, it even cracked the best film lineups for the BAFTA Awards and the Golden Globes. As for the 2 sequels, they didn't receive the same measure of Academy acknowledgement. 1989's Back to the Future Part 2 earned a solitary nomination for Best Visual Effects, while 1990's Back to the Future Part 3 was completely shut out. Not fair. Number 3, Fantastic Voyage. The science may be bogus, but the fiction is tremendous in 1966's Fantastic Voyage. I'm going to take a break real quick to let you know that this portion of WRUU programming is brought to you by Savannah Homebrew Shop. This portion offering wine making, beer making, and cheese making supplies and equipment, located at 2102 Skidaway Road. More information is available at 912-201-9880. Again, that is 912-201-9880 for Savannah Homebrew Shop, or at savannahhomebrew.com. Again, you are listening to the Spectrum Sci-Fi Show. I am your host, Keith Baudry. I'm feeling a little ill today, but I am here in the studio live as I promise to be every Friday. Well, except for March 3rd, because I am going to be selling some products at a comic convention. A few original art type things, a few comics, a few art prints, t-shirts. Moving on. Number 3, Fantastic Voyage. No less than... The science may be bogus, but the fiction is tremendous in 1966's Fantastic Voyage. No less than Isaac Asimov handled the novelization for the film about a submarine carrying 5 people who are shrunk to minuscule size and injected into the body of a defecting Russian scientist in order to remove a life-threatening blood clot. Fantastic Voyage was directed by Richard Fleischer, who earlier had helmed Disney's excellent 1954 adaptation of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, a movie that I own, that cartoon version. Nominated for 3 Academy Awards, that seafaring success won for Best Special Effects and Best Color Art Direction, Set Decoration. Fantastic Voyage did even better in the nomination count. It was up for 5 total and ended up winning the same 2 that 20,000 Leagues had snagged 8 years earlier. Interesting. Number 2, RoboCop. Fantastic. The right director, script, cast, and effects crew all came together to create a modern classic of sci-fi cinema. Not even 2 dismal sequels and a desultory. I don't know that word. This is Matt Brunson's words of ScreenRant.com. Desultory remake have diminished its impact or appeal. Excessively violent, yet also refreshingly satirical, 1987's RoboCop finds director Paul Verhoeven offering an old-fashioned revenge flick with high-tech trappings, including the formidable RoboCop suit designed by Rob Bottin. While there was no real way for the Academy to honor the Robo suit, Bottin nevertheless deserved a nomination for his makeup and effects. Dig that melting hoodlum. Ditto visual effects artist Phil Tippett for the stop-motion animation that brought the ED-209 Enforcer to life. Sadly, neither nod was forthcoming, although the film did score a pair of nominations for Best Film Editing and Best Sound. It also managed a top notch in the Win column, a Special Achievement Award for Best Sound Effects Editing. In the parlance of future Detroit, I'd buy that for $1. Number 1. Of the 15 sci-fi movies you didn't know won Oscars, by Matt Brunson of ScreenRant.com. His number 1 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In any other year, Steven Spielberg's classic about humankind contact with extraterrestrial beings would arguably have swept the technical categories at the Academy Awards. But 1977 was not only the year of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but also George Lucas's Star Wars, and the Spielberg flick ended up getting decimated almost as thoroughly as Alderaan. Close Encounters of the Third Kind was nominated for an impressive 8 Oscars, and while Spielberg and Lucas lost Best Director to Annie Hall's Woody Allen, and Melinda Dillon lost Best Supporting Actress to Julia's Vanessa Redgrave, the bulk of its defeats came at the hands of the Skywalker saga. In the 5 technical categories where they competed head-to-head, Star Wars bested Close Encounters across the board. This included wins for Best Visual Effects and Best Original Score, which meant John Williams, who composed the music for both films, lost to himself. That's cool. Close Encounters did manage to eke out a pair of victories. Vilmos Zsigmond nabbed the prize for the Best Cinematography, a category in which Star Wars was not nominated. Star Wars was not nominated for it. So Close Encounters won because, they had to win something. And Frank E. Warner won a Special Achievement Award for sound effects editing, although even here, Close Encounters had to share the spotlight with its sci-fi brethren. Ben Burtt similarly won a Special Achievement Award for sound effects, thanks to his creation of the alien, creature, and robot voices heard in Star Wars. Very interesting. So I'm pretty much out of time here. I got about 9 minutes left. We still got to finish this sci-fi radio play. I want to thank you again for listening to the Spectrum Sci-Fi Show here on Fridays live from 5 to 6. I invite you to tune in every Friday or to check out my podcast where you can hear this in recorded form. Thanks again to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org, Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. I'm going to let this play out and get out of here. Have a great night, and look for me in the stars? ? Still coming up with a tagline. I'm out.
Here we are, Ward 15. This way, gentlemen.
You're sure he's here, nurse?
Oh, yes.
Thank heaven we're in time.
Well, I wasn't on duty when he came in, but one of the other girls told me he'd collapsed in the street. The ambulance brought him in.
Poor guy, he must have really had it rough.
Oh, here you are. Bed number 78. This is your man.
Wait a minute.
This isn't Barnhouse.
But I was perfectly sure. Oh, wait, let me check his chart. Dismissed 8 p.m.
Only an hour ago.
Oh, dear, now I remember.
Remember what? If he was sick, why did you let him go?
Well, 2 of his friends came and took him away. They didn't want him in the charity ward. They said they'd make sure that he was taken care of.
Every time I walk into this study, I keep hoping somehow I'll wake up out of a bad dream and find the professor just sitting here. Major, is there anything we haven't covered?
Nothing. The police, the FBI, the air patrols, the docks, the railroad stations, everything. Not even a flea could get through this dragnet. I hope.
Then I guess we sit.
We sit. Maybe something will come in. Do you have to roll those dice?
I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking.
An hour. That's what's driving me crazy. 1 hour sooner, and he'd have been in our hands, not theirs.
I know. Well, maybe he's still all right.
How can he be all right? He's in the hands of a foreign power.
We don't know that for sure. The professor was a likable little guy. He couldn't have lasted this long if he hadn't found some friends. Maybe they came and took him away.
Well, grab that.
Hello? Yes?
Clinton, is that you?
Professor Barnhouse.
Clinton, they've got me.
Who's got you? Where are you, Professor?
I don't know. They said something about taking me to an airport.
An airport? Which one?
Listen, Clinton, I've got to tell you. The inkwell.
What are you talking about?
Remember the inkwell?
Professor. Professor Barnhouse. Operator.
Your call, please.
Operator, that caller just came in here. Can you trace it?
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm afraid it's too late. Your party has been disconnected.
Where are we headed? He didn't say which airport, just a hunch.
The commercial airfields are all covered. But there's a little private field out here, I remember. Hasn't been used in years.
Better be the one.
They didn't have too much of a start on us. Maybe we'll make it in time. Step on it, Corporal.
Wide open, Major.
How'd he sound? Did he say who had him?
No, all he got out was airport and something about an Major, Mr. Clinton, there's a tail light up ahead. Must be another car going like the devil.
You're right, I see it. They're turning into the airfield. Come on, faster.
Hold everything. Look up ahead. They're switching the floodlights on at the field.
There's the plane down at the other end, all warmed up and ready to go.
We'll never make it on the road. Hang on, I'm going through the fence. Right?
Well, what's the matter? Get going.
Sorry, sir. Must have cracked the axle.
They're taking off. Get out the submachine gun.
You can't. Barnhouse is in that plane. You'll kill him.
We've got to take that chance.
That plane's headed straight for us. Hit the dirt.
Get that gun working, Corporal. Aim for the propeller.
Couldn't get him, Major.
Well, there goes the old ball game.
I'll get through to Air Patrol, sir. Maybe they can intercept the plane.
No, not a chance. By the time the fighters got off the ground, the plane would be out of range. No, we've lost, Barnhouse. Nothing can save us now. Hey, what? What hit me? Clinton, are you all right?
Yeah, sure. The plane. It's gone.
I know. Barnhouse blew it right out of the sky. He wouldn't let himself be taken alive.
Boy, he really did it the hard way.
Poor guy. He shouldn't have had to be a hero. All he ever wanted was peace.
Peace? What's that? Now the arms race will start all over again. And with Barnhouse gone, what's left to stop it?
So they brought me back here to the professor's old study to dictate this report. I'm sitting here at his desk, and it's just the way he left it. Papers all over, even his old pair of dice. Arthur Barnhouse is dead. That's going to be good news for some people when they find out. The saber rattlers of the world will be busy as of tomorrow morning, getting ready to whoop up another war. I'm afraid they're in for a little surprise. It's 3 a.m. now. And before morning comes, I intend to vanish, disappear completely. That's the last that anybody will ever see or hear of me directly. That's why I want to tell you now. I've been looking at the new inkwell here on the desk. The professor's last words were something about an inkwell. And in it I found a little scrap of paper. Just a few words, but they complete the note I showed the major. The note that didn't make any sense. The whole thing makes sense now. Professor Barnhouse may be dead. But you haven't heard the last of the Barnhouse Effect. Not yet. I've been experimenting while I've been talking to you. And now the time has come for me to say goodbye. You see, I've just rolled my 50th consecutive 7.
You have just heard Report on the Barnhouse Effect by Kurt Vonnegut, Jr. An adventure in time, space, and the unknown. Dimension X.
Report on the Barnhouse Effect was written by Kurt Vonnegut, Jr. How cool is that? I did not know that until just now. I usually don't pre-screen these. You're hearing them for the first time, and so am I, and I'm just reacting to what I hear. That's pretty cool. The ending was a little bit, I don't know, where did Barnhouse even go? He just blew himself up, and this new guy is the new Professor X or something? What's the deal? Anyway, I'm all out of time. I'm sorry for the lack of awesome this time. I hope it was still pretty cool for you. But anyway, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. I will see you on the other side. That's not going to work. I'll come up with a cool tagline. I'll see you on the moon. That'll work for now. Again, this is Spectrum Sci-Fi Show. My name is Keith Baudry, and you're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Well, it looks like I'm having a little bit of trouble with my automation software. I'm going to talk to you for just a second longer while I get this up and running. So, let's see. Station Play Studio.